Patriots who gives their players a new playbook every Monday,
Right.
right? That's not going to be us. We want to get better at the things that we do every week, and I think you can see us continuing to get better every week, and our young players just can continue to grow. And don't forget, we excuse me, we had a year and a half out of the weight room. We're lifting weights right now.
Yes.
And so we're going to get stronger throughout the season. We're going to learn our plays better. I know we're talking a ton about offense, but let me talk about defense as well. 'Cause we're similarly young on defense. Defensive line's our most experienced position. Of our 8 players, we played 3 seniors, 3 juniors, and 2 sophomores. And one of those seniors is coming back next year, which is great. Our linebackers are very young. We played 1 senior and 3 sophomores. They're all 3 very good players. Our defensive backs, only 1 senior, 4 juniors, 3 sophomores, and a freshman. So of our 21 players we played on defense, 17 are coming back and only 4 are going to graduate. And we're in a similar phase of we just want to get better every week at what we're going to do. And one of Coach Kriesel's goals for this week was not narrowing down our playbook, but really looking at the things we've done over the 4 games we played and seeing what are we really good at and what can we do going forward and how can we be a little bit more attacking and what's going to give our guys the best chance to be successful. Because, as I keep saying, we're playing some young players.
Yes.
And we want to do well now. I keep saying that every week.
Right, you want to win every week.
We want to do well now, right? And we want to be the best we can be, and we want to win every week. How can we do that? How can we do that? And that's what we're trying to do as coaches.
Well, and not to go back to offense because I do enjoy a good defense, but
we can. People like to hear about offense.
We had explosive plays, but we also had long, sustained drives, a couple of them. Talk a little bit about your preparation for game planning and what goes into play calling. You may not be the one calling plays, but I'm sure you're involved in that decision-making process.
We are and have been. Pardon me. Anybody else have allergies? we have and probably always will be with Southwestern football. We've been a big play offense. We're not always bigger, faster, stronger than who we're playing. So if we can gain chunks, that really helps. So when Austin Castelleja scores a 70-yard touchdown, man, that really helps,
awesome.
right? when Landry can roll out and find a 25-yard play to Ethan Powell, that really helps. It's been, over the 9 years we played football, it hasn't been our strength to try to go 15 plays. So we're not, just throwing it down the field every play, but we're trying to, within our run game and pass game, we want to have 8, 10, 12, 20, 30, 40-yard plays. And when we're able to do that, then we do well. So if we can continue to see big plays and chunk plays, I think that's a good thing for our team.
Okay, and when you talked a little bit about the defense, give us your thoughts on the special team performance from the McMurray game.
It was our worst special teams performance of the season. We did some things well. Our kickoff coverage is outstanding. And our punt team is typically super reliable. We had one letdown from our punt team in that game. We need to get a little more consistent with our kickoff returning and blocking. We've been really good on special teams. And so I was a little disappointed. And for folks that don't know, I inherited our special teams duties the week that training camp started. We had a coach leave our staff, and so, I know how to do that. Here you go. We weren't going to move the duties around. We've had 3 successful fake punts in the first 4 weeks.
Including Saturday.
So Wilson Herbst is really doing a great job there. So we're doing well. I tell our team our best chance as Southwestern football to dominate a phase of the game is on special teams. Other teams will not put the emphasis that we can put on it. And we're going to put our best players at all these positions out there. We've blocked a punt. We've blocked a field goal. We've had 3 successful fakes. And we want to continue to do those things on special teams. I think it can give us a big edge all throughout every season. But for us to be competitive in the conference that we're in, we're going to need to continue to be really good on special teams.
It is a tough conference to compete in. Okay, Coach, any final thoughts on McMurray before we go to a break and bring on I'm not sure who's coming up first. Is it Austin or
it's your choice. You're the dealer.
Or Blaine.
Blaine or Austin, you make the call.
Let's go with Blaine first. Your final thoughts on McMurray?
I'm so done with it. Let's get Blaine up here.
Okay. Well, we'll take a quick break. Thank you for tuning in to SU Football Weekly presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. We'll be right back. Welcome back to SU Football Weekly, presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. I'm joined by Blaine Corkin. Hey, Blaine.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Is this your first interview?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been playing for Southwestern?
I'm a sophomore, so this will be my second year this year.
Second year. Is this your first varsity game this
No.
past weekend?
Well, this is the first varsity game I've really got some minutes in, but as a freshman, I played on special teams, and then every game I've played special teams as well as a little bit of linebacker. So,
Well, tell us how you feel to be named Defensive Player of the Week.
it feels great. I couldn't really do it without my teammates, though. I mean, it's a complete team effort. D linemen setting up the fits for me, corners doing their job, so it's definitely a team effort for me to get that award.
Well, in the linemen, their job is to eat up those blocks so that you can flow and make tackles.
Makes it way
right?
easier. Yes, sir.
And you were in on quite a few tackles on Saturday. Give us your thoughts on the athletes you faced at McMurray, and just what your general thoughts on the game.
They're great athletes, but at the end of the day, I think defense didn't perform as well as we would want them to. We talk a lot on defense every week, doing your 111, 11 people on the field. Each person has their one responsibility, and I think that's where we struggled a little bit that week. Each person kind of just didn't do their job as well as we wanted to. So ultimately, I think that's where we struggled the most. But yeah, great McMurray, great team, but I think ultimately we didn't play as well as we would like to.
Well, and do you get into any competitions with the offensive guys week in, week out on how you perform on the field? Like, we played better than y'all, anything like that?
No, definitely not.
It's just a whole team
sport. Offense carrying defense, defense carrying offense. Try to be constructive because it's not just one side or the other. It's whole team effort.
Okay. Do you lean on any of the older players to kind of give you any guidance on how you're playing or how you're approaching your preparation or how you're attending classes and things like that, or do you already feel like you're in a leadership role now as a sophomore?
Well, most definitely. I mean, last year we had Ben Brockman, all-conference linebacker, and he taught me a lot of game and how to play linebacker. And then this year we got Bernard Century, and I'm taking a lot of game off them, and they're helping me out, being great teammates and stuff. But I also feel like this year I've stepped up a little more as a leader, as a sophomore. So it's two sides of the token. I think I'm doing both.
Right. Well, let's talk a little bit of non-football related stuff. How are you enjoying your time at Southwestern University?
It's great. A lot of fun.
Now, does that just include football, or are you talking about social life, attending classes,
social life,
the whole
academics,
experience?
Yeah, definitely. Last year I interned in the weight room for our strength coach, so I got a lot of experience there. I want to be a kinesiology major, so that definitely helped me a lot in my field. And then, meeting some great people outside of football, in football, and teachers are great, classes are going great, so it's a lot of fun.
Are you planning on coaching?
I'm not sure yet. I know I want to go into strength and conditioning side, so I don't know if I want to coach or go into private sector, but yeah, definitely in the strength and conditioning aspect of kinesiology.
Well, I think there are a lot of the guys that we've spoken to have shown interest in, or are taking kinesiology and have shown interest in coaching others. And, even if you go into a consultant type role where you take on clients and teach them how to remain in shape and live a healthy life, it's the same kind of thing. It's just you're not coaching football. You're coaching kind of more of life and how to remain healthy. So it's certainly a commendable pursuit. So beyond that, what are your thoughts on the upcoming game against the East Texas Baptist University Tigers?
I like our odds. I think we have a really good chance. We're trying to narrow stuff down on defense, and I know offense is doing their preparation, and they're going to do great. But this week we're really focusing on, like Coach Austin said, narrowing it down about what we do best and doing our 111, each person doing their own job to the best of their ability. And if each person narrows it down and does what they're supposed to do, then I think we'll come out with the win.
Well, in the Tigers, they typically have a good skilled position players. Just about every team in this conference does. A good quarterback, good receivers, and good running backs, along with a decent offensive line coming into the town. So, your work's cut out for you. I think you'll be fine. But give us your thoughts on the expectations that you have for the guys around you in this, upcoming game?
The expectation is that everybody plays their fullest, gives 100% of the time, and we just need to beat the dude in front of us and do our job. Yeah, a lot of ETBU has great players, but a lot of the teams in our conference are great players. We're in one of the toughest conferences in the whole nation. So it's nothing new we're really, going against. We're used to playing great players, but I think really it just comes down to us and how well we play. And if we worry about our job and our assignments and not worry about what's in front of us and how, this guy's really good, this guy's really fast, but just focus on our assignment, then we'll do great.
Now, you really excel in run support, at least from Saturday's game. That was obvious. Do you enjoy the other aspects of playing a linebacker? Do you like to draw back in coverage? Do you like to get an opportunity to put a little pressure on the quarterback?
I mean, definitely. I mean, run support, obviously, that's a pretty big part of linebacker.
Right.
So I definitely enjoyed that the most. But, I definitely like dropping back in the pass, putting rush pressure on the quarterback, because you can't just do one thing. If you want to be a really great linebacker, you have to be able to do all three things. So, yeah.
What are you most comfortable with out of those three?
Run fit, 100%. But
run fit. Okay. Well, and like I said, you played really well on Saturday. I think it was deserved to get the defensive player of the week. And there were a few candidates that were out there that made big plays,
Most
but
definitely.
you consistently were there. And so I want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
And we'll see you on Saturday. Go
Yes,
get
sir.
the Tigers, all right?
Yes, sir.
Blaine Corcoran, we will take a quick break here on SHN Sports. This is SU Football Weekly presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. We'll be right back. Welcome back to SU Football Weekly, presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. Being joined now by Austin Castilleja. How are you, Austin?
Pretty good. How are you?
It's good to meet you. I get to call your name quite often on Saturdays, and which kind of leads into this first question I have for you. You lead the team in all-purpose yards so far this season. You've had 8 catches, 193 yards, a 70-yard touchdown catch on Saturday. Offensive MVP for the week. The SU featured athlete of the week on the website. I don't know if you knew that or not.
One of my
There's a
professors
nice
just-
action photo of you there.
Yeah, one of my professors actually let me know of that in class today, and I was like, "Oh, really?" So that was a good surprise.
So tell me how do you feel about all the attention you may be getting, recognition in your class and things like that?
I don't really focus on the recognition. It's usually sometimes my friends will come up to me and let me know, and I'll be like, no way. Like, it's nice to know that the public is, shouting me out and for doing something that that I'm not focusing on my accomplishments, but what I can do for the team. So it's nice to know that people appreciate that.
Well, and you contribute in a lot of phases. You have the opportunity to carry the ball on those little jet sweeps, and mostly, they're trying to target you in receptions, but you return kicks as well. What's your favorite part of all of that?
I play a lot of special teams, punt return, kickoff return. I'd say my favorite special teams role that I play is definitely kickoff and punt, just because I have that opportunity to go
To
out
make a
there
big play,
and
right?
to go hit somebody, because an offensive player doesn't get to
Well, that's true
lay a
too.
hit on somebody that a lot.
So, given the status that you have as a weapon for the Pirates in multiple phases, certainly opposing defenses have taken notice, right?
Yes, sir.
So given that they're watching you, where's number 3? Where's number 3? How is that, and how does that affect your preparation?
It really doesn't affect my preparation. I'm going in every week focusing on my technique and what I have to do to give the team the success that we should have. But when focusing on, I guess, other teams scouting me, it only opens up the other part of the offense that is outside of, receiving. The rushing will open up if, their DBs are going to be focusing on me. We have EP, Eric, Aiden, Jay Richardson. They're all great players, so if they want to focus on me, then that's their fault.
Right. Well, and that helps you in your game if you have multiple weapons and you're not the primary focus necessarily. And so tell me how you felt about that 70-yard catch on Saturday. How did that feel?
It was actually a scramble. The play was not even supposed to go to me. I saw Landry roll out, and I was already going across the field. So when I saw him roll back the other way, I knew that. Our scramble rules are if you're going to go to the sideline, you either go the other way or go up. And I liked my matchup against the safety, so I went up, and Landry got the ball to me. So, yeah.
So do you like it when plays break down and you have an opportunity like that? Or?
Definitely. It's just a little surprise just because you're going into the play knowing what your assignment is. So when you see Landry roll the other way, you're like, okay, this is gives me a little.
It gives you a chance to find a zone to sit down in or streak up the sideline.
Yeah, exactly.
You made an over-the-shoulder catch as well. It was on the highlight reel earlier. How difficult is that? I don't think I've ever made a catch like that. I mean, I pretty much have to be looking at it.
Thankfully,
and even then, it's not
practiced
guaranteed.
that a lot in practice and pregame. That ball was really high.
He dropped it in there.
The trajectory was perfect, but when you look over your shoulder, especially running at a high speed, it's pretty difficult. But I trusted my abilities, and it worked out.
Now, do you feel like you have a connection with Landry at quarterback? Or do you think that's something that's still developing that may even improve?
It's definitely developing and improving just from when he came here. In the Belhaven game, I had scored a touchdown in the back end zone, and before we had gone onto the field, he said, I need you to be here at this time, and it was a route that we've done in practice, but it was a little variation to it, and it worked out. So I think we're definitely building a connection that's going to be good.
So give me your thoughts on the mood of the team right now heading into East Texas Baptist.
So this week's practice has been great. Monday through Tuesday has just been one of the best, Monday, Tuesday practices that we've had. From an offensive standpoint, we've just told ourselves we need to focus on our assignment. We've been a little inconsistent in the previous seasons and this season. We start off really strong, and then, we all know how stuff goes sometimes. So this week, we know ETBU is a team that we haven't beaten, but we like our matchups. We're focusing on our individual assignments and what we can do for the success of the team. So that's been definitely the main focus of this week, is focusing on your assignment and not worrying about the scoreboard.
Well, and Coach Austin mentioned it earlier, there's a lot of parity in this conference. A lot of the teams are very evenly talented, and the opportunities are there. You just got to take advantage of them. So talking about non-football related stuff, what's your major here at Southwestern?
Biochemistry.
Biochemistry. So what is your plans for after school?
Pharmacy school. So
okay.
After pharmacy school, I'm still deciding if I want to take a gap year and build up my work experience, but I've been set on pharmacy school since my junior year in high school, where I took a pharmacology class, and I loved it.
Excellent. And so do you have plans on where you want to live post-graduation? You like the Central Texas area, or are you just going to go where the jobs take you? Or?
ultimately, where I'm gonna get paid, make a living.
Whoever pays
Wherever
you the
I
most.
can, make a living, I'm gonna go. But I want to stay. I'm a family-oriented person. Back home, my grandparents live a mile away from me. I spend a lot of time with them. So I definitely would like to find a job close, if not in San Antonio, close to San Antonio, just because I love my family and just love being around them.
Well, I was going to bring that up. You're from San Antonio. It's a pretty nice city. And even if you decided to stay in the Austin area, it's not much of a drive to go down to San Antonio. So, but if you're used to living a block away from your grandparents, that is quite a drive to go see them again. So, and the thing about grandparents, they're only going to be available to you for a limited amount of time, so you certainly should take as much advantage of that as possible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So thank you for coming on tonight, Austin. I wish you luck against East Texas Baptist. I hope to call your name frequently on Saturday.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So
Appreciate it.
we'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back with segment 4 of SU Football Weekly, presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. We'll be right back.
Southwestern University Football Weekly would like to thank the following corporate sponsors for making this broadcast possible: Antioch, Georgetown; Chapel Realty Group, Roger Chapel; Chick-fil-A; Chisholm Trail Pediatrics; CJ's Catering; Hewlett Chevrolet Buick Volkswagen; Double Dave's Pizza; Eagles Wings Home Services; First Texas Bank; Gary Brown CPA; Georgetown Commercial Properties; Georgetown Shirt Company; Georgetown Title; Groove Line Productions; HEB; Hello Georgetown; John F. Lewis CPA; Mighty Fine; Minuteman Press Waterboy Graphics; Primerica Financial Solutions Derek McGill; Ross and Champion CPAs; Rudy's; St. David's Georgetown Hospital; Schlotzsky's; Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center; Stephanie Featherstone State Farm; Upstream Investment Partners Scott Olson; WHATABURGER, and Wolf Ranch. Be sure to thank these local businesses for sponsoring your Southwestern Pirates.
Welcome back to SU Football Weekly, presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. Coach, you want to say a couple of things about the players that were here tonight?
Yeah, I do. Usually they run out when their part's done, but Austin and Blaine are back there, so I'm going to brag on them for a couple minutes. First of all, they're guys they are football players. They are all four on kickoff return, punt return. They get their jobs done. They study football. They know what's going on. Now, Austin's been good for a long time. He's been second team all-conference in the best league in America. Had a 200-yard game this last game. And Blaine has been really coming out. He's just a sophomore, and he won and voted by his teammates our defensive player of the game. And you love when guys like that get those opportunities and they step through the door and say, hey, I'm here, and they do a great job. So happy for those guys. Blaine did a good job with his first ever interview. And let me say this about Austin. Austin used to tell me, no, I'm not doing an interview. Like, he would do well in a game, and I'd want to bring him up, and he's like, Coach, I can't do it. And I've made him do this a couple times, and you've done great, Austin.
Oh, yeah.
And when you go to interview
like
for
natural.
pharmacy school and you go to do job interviews, you're going to kill it. So good job.
Well, and they're both very humble kids too. You know, they obviously, you know, I try to direct a little attention towards them, and they defray that back to their teammates, which is I think a really good thing and commendable for both of those young men. So, Coach, we'll talk about East Texas Baptist. They're coming into Georgetown in a very similar position as the Pirates. They're 1-2 in conference. They're coming off a shootout game where they lost. Both teams are in need of a win, in my opinion. What did you tell the team this week?
Oh, I tell them so many things. You got to ask those guys. Like, what gets through, right? I say so much. What got through? I taught them how to bake bread this week. I'm not going to get into that, but it's a real
bread.
thing. I made a bread baking analogy to winning football. But I talked to him about our conference, so let's start there. UMHB's 3-0, nationally ranked. Hardin-Simmons is 2-1. Just give UMHB a good game, better than I thought they would. They're a top 10 team, 2-1. Howard Payne's undefeated. They're nationally ranked also. The other 7 teams in our conference are all 1-2, and they're going around the South beating each other. We beat Belhaven, and McMurray beat us, and ETBU beat McMurray, and Belhaven beat Austin, and Austin beat Saul Rawson, right? So we have a chance to win 5 of the 6 games we have left. Now, when we play Hardin-Simmons in about a month, we'll talk about how we need to have a plan to pull an upset. They're going to be the favorite in that game. But we're right there. As young as we are and as developmental as we are in some areas, we're right there with those teams. So we've got to be a team that plays well every week. And as I talked about before, against Belhaven in the fourth quarter, we got it done. They gave us the ball, and we didn't give it back with 6 minutes left. At times against McMurray, we didn't do as well. And so that's what it's about. So I'm glad to hear Blaine and Austin say the same thing. So I know that's getting through. We need to be really good at what we're asking our players to do from an assignment standpoint. We've got to be disciplined. We've got to limit penalties. We have to eliminate totally turnovers. We have to be really competitive. And those things will carry us a long way. We'll have a good opportunity this weekend. We're going to have a good opportunity every weekend. Right.
And it'll be competitive week in and week out in this conference. Now, one of the East Texas the conference win that East Texas Baptist has is over the McMurray team that we just dropped 1-2. What can be learned from the film of a game like that? And do head-to-head matchups really matter? Team-wise.
It all depends. Certainly we're going to look at all the schemes and look at the alignments and analyze everything that they did. But one of the bigger things that we learned is for ETBU to beat McMurray had to turn it over 6 times. And so I think that just shows that among these 7 teams that are all lumped in at 1-2, that the team that plays better, that has fewer turnovers and fewer penalties and makes fewer mistakes is going to win. There's really similar teams this year. Whoever plays better is going to win. I think that's one of the things that film shows us as we watch our games, as we watch these other teams play. The team that plays better wins because they're very similar in ability. They're very similar in a lot of ways.
And the games are very passionate too, week in and week out. Regardless of who Southwestern is playing, it's a dogfight, and there's a lot of emotion in those games.
It's got to be fun to watch.
Yeah, it's awesome.
When you come in, it's not a guarantee we're ever going to win. But it's also not a guarantee that we're going to get shellacked, right? I mean, it's going to be a good game. The Belhaven game had to be really fun to watch.
Oh, it was awesome.
The McMurray game, there were frustrating times for all of us, but it had to be really fun to watch.
A lot of big plays.
A lot of big plays, some really good things on offense and defense. So, if nothing else, we're entertaining, I think. And it should be an entertaining game again this Saturday.
Well, and you talked a little bit earlier about running the run and shoot. Is that the Mouse Davis version from the Houston Oilers era?
It is a Houston Oilers offense. It's a lot of quick sprint outs, and the thing about run and shoot offense is the wide receivers are in control of what routes they run. When you release off the line of scrimmage, there are certain players that have 3 or 4 different options that they can do based on the coverage in front of them. And so, for example, Austin's always in a spot, or most of our plays, Austin's in a spot where he has options. Depending on what the guy in front of him does, he can go a bunch of different directions, and then everything adjusts off of that. So you talked about, do we need to expand offense and game plan? A lot of what we have is built-in adjustments. If a team gives us this coverage, then the play turns into this. If you get this coverage, the play turns into that. And so a lot of that's built in.
Well, and that's not an easy thing for even college athletes to grasp and execute, and fortunately at Southwestern you kind of have a higher intellect level of player. Give us your thoughts on dealing with guys that are very smart.
Well, the offense that we're running takes time. I mean, it looked really bad out at Cal Lutheran. And then we came back and scored 34 against a really good defense at Belhaven the next week. So it's just going to continue to get better as we get more comfortable. Speaking to your point about having really, really good academic players, we got to get book smarts to translate into street smarts.
That's true.
Football is a street smarts game. It is anticipation. It's being able to look out of the corner of your eye and know something shady's going on over there. Knowing not what alley not to walk down and what alley to walk down. I mean, that's football.
Right.
And so book smarts and street smarts, we got to get those two to combine, and that's where you really got something.
Well, and that's not always easy. I agree with that. So I'm going to throw some names out at you. Tariq Gray, Troy Yauman, Cornelius Merchant, big-time skill guys on that East Texas Baptist
I'm only
offense.
worried about two of the three because Merchant isn't on their team anymore.
He's not on the team anymore.
But I'm worried about the other two. Gray's a really, really good wide receiver. I feel like he's like a seventh-year senior. He's had red shirts and COVID years.
Yeah, it
and
seems
it's
like he's
man,
been
that
around
dude's
for a
been
long
for
time.
Forever. And Yeoman's a very good quarterback. So, yeah, we'll have our hands full. They throw the deep ball better than anyone in small college football. It's what they do. So, again, talking about entertaining game, they're going to throw it as far as they can 15 times. And if you complete 4 of them for touchdowns, you're in pretty good shape.
Yep.
They don't mind being 2nd and 10. They're going to throw it deep on first down, and they don't care about 2nd and 10. So that'll be a big challenge for us.
So how do you stay on top of those receivers and try to prevent those long routes, or at least stay with them?
You got to match them athletically, and so we're gonna be challenged athletically. When two guys are running, you have to be able to run as fast as the other guy. That's what it comes down to. Now, technique can really help you as far as knowing when to open and when to turn and run, but it comes down to how are we going to match them athlete for athlete when they want to throw the ball down the field.
Well, in a lot of those deep passes, the corners I feel like have done a pretty good job, even with their back turn, knowing when the ball is arriving. How do y'all coach that? Just tell them to look at the receiver's eyes, or?
Well, we should be watching the receiver's hip all the way through the route. The hip is going to tell you where he's going to go. All the heads and shoulders, that they're lying to you. They're trying to fake you out. So our eyes should be focused on their hip. It's going to tell you where they're going to go. And then you need to be locked onto your man. And when they put their hands up, then we'll bring our hands right up through their hands. And that's how you play through the ball.
Well, defensively, the Tigers, they've been in some tight games, but they're high-scoring games generally. How do you attack that defense, and do you expect big production from the offense this week, a la the McMurray game?
Yeah, I do. I think we're gonna do well. They have good players, good athletes. I think they're really similar to when we played them in January or February, whatever that was, in the spring. And so I think we'll have some familiarity because we're playing a lot of the same players that we played then. Of course, we're playing a lot of freshmen as well. But from a wide receiver standpoint and from Landry's standpoint, our perimeter players have gone against a lot of the same guys they're going to see, the same scheme they're going to see. Hopefully they're comfortable, and hopefully our offensive coaches, hopefully I know our offensive coaches are going to have a really good plan of how to apply our run and shoot offense to what they're going to see.
Okay, Coach. So give us your closing thoughts on East Texas Baptist. What do Southwestern fans, what can we expect in general?
If you come to the game and you see them throw a 6-yard pass, 5-6-yard pass, I'm going to guarantee you that they have offensive linemen illegally downfield. So we have fans that love to yell at the officials. When they throw a 6-yard pass, you yell illegal man downfield and just keep yelling it all night because they cheat.
So is that's the RPO that they're running?
You can call it an RPO.
It's just cheating.
It's cheating. It's cheating. You get 3 yards. They just send their guys. They have offensive linemen deeper than the guy catching the pass. So if again, I'm just going to steer into the skid. I know we have a lot of parents that love to yell at everybody. So when you see them throw a 6-yard pass, just start yelling illegal man downfield, and that will help me out a lot.
Well, that's going to be up to the audience and the parents, as you say, because from the press box I can't quite they can't hear me from there. But I do get to see a lot of the penalties that aren't called, which can be frustrating at times. As the head coach, and when you see something like that a call that doesn't go your way that should have gone your way, how do you deal with that? How do you avoid adding more problems to the situation or preventing them?
That's a really good question. It's something we're working with our players on. Our guys can't let go of the fact that they're going to get held and somebody's going to do this to them, and someone's going to do that to them. They can't let it go. And the example I'm setting as a head coach is you have to let it go. If I'm going to get on an official, it's going to be about a player safety issue. If I think that there was a targeting thing, then I'm going to voice my concerns. But for the things that happen in football, you have no control over that, and it's such a distraction. So we've got to let that go, and they're going to see me let that go. The other time that I will remind officials is when I get to meet with the umpire and the referee before the game, and then they have a checklist of things. They want to go through a checklist of things I want to go through, and they'll say, do you have any concerns? And I'm going to tell the officials this weekend, they're going to throw passes where their guard is deeper than their receiver, and they can't do that. So that will be something where I'm going to say, hey, we talked about this, and that will be a situation where I'll be giving them reminders. But I'm not going and yelling at guys about you didn't call that hold or that guy was a little too far off line of scrimmage. It's such a distraction. I'm not going to distract myself. I'm not going to distract our team. We need to line up and play football.
Well, and one of the keys to football is remaining focused on your game plan.
It is a huge key.
But, being able to adjust within the game plan. Talk about the adjustments on the fly and what
I thought
you'll
you
do.
asked for my final thoughts like 5 minutes
Oh,
ago.
okay. I'm sorry, guys.
No, go ahead.
No, just give us your thoughts on adjusting in game situations.
I think we have from just a purely schematic standpoint, I think we have enough things in our package where we can adjust well. We always have kind of a plan A and a plan B and enough things that we know how to do that we can pivot to a certain extent. So when we need to do that, a lot of times the halftime adjustment is play better. There's nothing wrong with what we planned. We just need to execute it better. So more often than not, the halftime adjustment is let's do it well. Do it better than we did. But we do have plenty of times where we come in and say, okay, we're going to make this adjustment, we're going to make that adjustment, and then we need to go execute that.
Well, and in last week's show, Coach, I brought up the new merchandise site, and I don't know if everybody noticed. I got a nice golden shirt with a new emblem on it, and I brought the hat that I bought as well. And I want to encourage everyone to go out to southwesterngear.merchorders.com and check out all of the stuff they have. It's pretty awesome. There's just all kinds of things, hoodies and windbreakers and all kinds of stuff. And I'm assuming that goes back to the school.
A percentage does, yeah.
A percentage does. So make sure you check it out. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight to SU Football Weekly, presented by Sheraton, Austin, Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. Coach, good luck on Saturday. We'll be there cheering you on, everybody here, I'm sure. So thank everyone for coming out, and we'll see you next time.
Hi, Mom.
Southwestern University Football Weekly would like to thank the following corporate sponsors for making this broadcast possible: Antioch, Georgetown, Chapel Realty Group, Roger Chapel, Chick-fil-A, Chisholm Trail Pediatrics, CJ's Catering, Hewlett Chevrolet Buick Volkswagen, Double Dave's Pizza, Eagles Wings Home Services, First Texas Bank, Gary Brown CPA, Georgetown Commercial Properties, Georgetown Shirt Company, Georgetown Title, Groove Line Productions, HEB, Hello Georgetown, John F. Lewis CPA, Mighty Fine.